what was happening. Thank you. And then there is also the failing governance systems in various ways, in various institutions, including even in our nation generally, because our schools reflect the society. We also have stress and anxiety that when some schools went home due to the unrest, and especially where our precious children were burnt, you see other schools started talking or hearing rumors because these children are interconnected. Communication is just like that, and they get to hear what's happening. And so some schools went home out of fear of what would happen, just in case one or two in that school who are not disciplined again would do the same in those schools. So the stress and the anxiety, I think, was at the height of most of these things. And then, of course, the media and peer influence. There are others who went home, which would also be called part of discipline or indiscipline. The other school is at home. What are we doing here in school? And I think it's just a matter of many things that have been going on that I hope will be sorted out as we look at the entire system. Because if we take and blame one side and leave the other side, it will be like putting a bandage in a wound that has not been sorted out. So all these put together did affect our schools. And all these, when you look at them carefully, they're attached to a value, one value or another. And a value is defined as a principle or a belief or a standard that guides how an individual thinks, what our young people are thinking, the decisions that they make. When somebody or children come together and decide we want to ban the others because they are not buying into our values or into our beliefs, and also the way, how what people consider important or acceptable or desirable in their daily lives. So when these values are not clearly defined, or instead of having values we extol vices, then we end up with unrest such as what we have seen. And we know that children are not just simply taught through words. They must learn by observing. What have they been observing in the society? Some of this is a reflection. How about practice? What is being reinforced both at home and in schools? What are the experiences? So all these that are happening both at home, like I said, experiences, and in school came together and are now manifesting in our children. I think that's what I would say at the beginning. Back to you, Antonin.
Thank you very much, Dr. Judy. So we have a mixture of things: intergenerational gap, failing governance system in schools, reflection of our society, what we do, they see and they follow, and the media and all manner of things. So I believe when we open the floor, the parents will be able to also add their voice to this. I want to move to the next question. This is, the question will be addressed by Dr. Dorcas. Dorcas, why is alignment between school values and the home environment important for a child's overall development and success? Why is alignment between school values? Yes, please. If you've got the question, take it.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Antonin. It is very important that the values that are taught at home align with the values in the school system. Remember, the homes are the incubational grounds for values. When a child is born, what they learn actually between age 0 and age 12 forms their foundational life, and especially the values that they are taught at that age forms their personality. And we transit our children to boarding school, be it primary or high school, which are more of holding grounds for their growth and development. And so, apart from the knowledge that they are given at those levels, primary and secondary schools, the knowledge that they get, together with the values that they get, should not be different from their foundational values and knowledge, except for matters of subject matter and such. Now, when we transit children who have different values to higher levels, like now the secondary school section, and we find that the values in the school are contradicting the values in the home, the children get confused. And that way, they experience a lot of stress and mental breakdown. Now, if there's a conflict between the values in the school system and the values in the home, accompanied with academic pressure and the competition in the school environment, then this can raise the stress levels of the child. And you know, when young people express very high levels of stress, they develop anxiety. And if this anxiety is not addressed, then they express it out by rampages and strikes. That is, interpersonal conflicts in our children as a result of values that are not aligned. The values in the home are different from the values in the schools. And when this is coupled with academic pressures and the competition as it is, because you realize most of the striking students are students in Form 3 and in Form 4. Students who are in the last bits of the KCSE education system, who already do not know what their future will look like because they have no chances of repeating. They are terminal to themselves because they have only either one chance to do the KCSE examinations, which actually define their lives. And that coupled with varying value system, and then the academic pressure, and then the uncertainty of their future, that will break them down if the systems are not put in place to listen to them and to provide explanations as to why the prevailing circumstances in the school system are so different from those which they have experienced prior and what their future holds for them. So, such a situation will raise a lot of anxiety and give a mental breakdown to the young people who are not yet 18, who are yet to understand themselves, and who are experiencing a lot of emotional distress.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Dorcas. So it is very, very important, according to Dr. Dorcas, that the values at home should align with those at school to free the learner so that they are able to focus on their academics. If there's a conflict between home and the school, then the learner will be at a loss to want to find their way. And this pressure, coupled with the academic pressure, uncertainties, and the rest, is likely to break them down. So we should be thinking of how do we make this alignment seamless so that the learner has one thing to focus on, and that is the academics only and not the conflicts. Why is it like this at home? Why is it like that in the where I come from? Why is it like this in the school? Thank you very much, Dr. Ari. Now we move to the next question. This is, and this one we are going to give to Mr. Ronald Amaganga, the Principal Marions. What are the most common challenges schools and families face when trying to reinforce the same values? And how can these challenges be addressed? Do you think CBE is a solution.
Wow, thank you. Quite a wonderful, wonderful, thought-provoking question. I know there could be, and there are many challenges that schools and families face when they are trying to just align and reinforce the same values. I'll just talk of what three, which I think, or rather the categories that I have put them in my view, very biased, as I would say. One of the things I would say is that one, home has changed. We know that home has changed. Dr. Ogweno had already mentioned the fact of the reflection of society, challenge that we are facing, and the fact, the issue of, contract, that the nature of relationship of the school and the parent, and home has changed. When today's home is not the same home that it has always been. Today's child is growing up in a home where they are very much affirmed. Today's child is growing up in a home where their voice is very much heard. I mean, when an oldie like myself was going to school, you knew that what the teacher said, and if the teacher gave a report about you to your parents, the teacher's word was law, and there was no question about it. Nobody would even ask, for example, what happened. If the teacher said, this is what happened in school, and this child is indisciplined, or this child did not meet this expectation, home took it as gospel truth. But today's home is a very different home. Today's home is a home where parents sit with the children to discuss the program for the day. Today's home is a home where parents are sometimes pretty busy. I'll tell you this, for example, if you check any school in the city, they have a lot of lost and found items. Some of them, a child loses a very new jacket, fleece jacket that costs 3,500 shillings. And you'll think someone will notice. The next day, they will get a new fleece jacket. That is the home that exists today. Nobody may question. And sometimes it may be a question of mom leaves too early, and the person who dresses the child is the house help. And so they may not even push or even alert mom that, this jacket didn't come back. And so, yeah. And for example, and I'll tell you, go to any school in the city, a huge pile of lost and found items. And if you check the worth and value of all of that, of the lost and found items, lots of money. But it looks like it's just something that it will pass. That is the home that we are dealing with today. At Marian schools, for example, we've addressed like that specific challenge of lost and found. We purposely help the children to take care of their property, and we hold them accountable for it. It's something we track, is something we report, so that we don't have huge piles of lost and found items because of just knowing and understanding. Home is no longer what it was. And so we've at least, and I would say that's any school that does not respond to the fact that home today has changed. Home is no longer, I mean, if a teacher, for example, expects their word is low, yet this child goes back to a home where they will be engaged, they will negotiate this or that, they will be involved in planning the weekend, and then the child comes to school on Monday and the teacher is not sensitive to listen to motivate the child about the structure of school, and which is, now that brings another sense of conflict or challenge in aligning school values, similar values between school and home. 99, I mean, school is a structured place. Home may not necessarily be so. That, the child's time is clearly planned, that at this time you're going to do this and do the other. Yeah. So I can give multiple examples, but truth, today's home has changed so significantly, yet school has remained a structured place. So that is one of the biggest challenges that families and schools face in ensuring seamless implementation of the same values. And the aspect of what Dr. Bueno mentioned, the reflection of society, school, the children in school, coming to school, the families that we have, the teachers in school, they live in this very same society that has, if I were to use biblical language, has largely become lawless and has become, to a big extent, fairly there's a lot of relativism on many matters. What is acceptable behavior when dealing with this or that? That is not automatic any longer. Every home has its definition of courtesy and respect. Interestingly, too, many schools may even have different outlooks of what constitutes respect, courtesy, responsibility, and all of that. It's the nature of the society we live in. I mean, it's interesting, for example, you're coming to school expecting, when a child comes to school, and if that school is like our wonderful Marian schools, the children generally are expected to queue as they go to any place and do so in an orderly way. But they were dropped in school in a vehicle that overlapped all the way for a whole 10 kilometers. Now, a child is wondering, why are you restricting me to queue systematically and wait my turn? Yet every morning when I'm being dropped to school, every evening when I'm going back, I never wait my turn in the queue. And of course, sometimes the rescue comes in the fact that it is good for school to retain that space of structure, and the school to retain that space of being a sense of stability and order. But again, the third issue that I had pointed out in my categorization is the issue of contract and the relationship between school and home and the parent. The child comes in on the basis of a contract of admission, and the parent has certain obligations. Key of them being, of course, if the school does not handle this engagement very well, it becomes very difficult for you to retain common values. If, like, a Christian school like ourselves, we will insist that, engaging the parent clearly at the outset and let them know, these are the things we stand for. Do you agree? As the parent signs on the dotted line, they are fairly clear that this is, as I'm getting my child into this system, I subscribe to prayer, for example. I subscribe to orderliness. I subscribe to this. It really helps. I'm already giving what I feel is the solution to helping that. And if a parent, for example, because you see, by virtue of the issue of contract, the parent may say, but I've paid my fees, but no. We agreed clearly, yes, one of your obligations is paying fees, but we also let you know clearly, and it has to be clear right from the outset. So what I'm saying, a parent interview and engagement at the beginning really helps. Is CBE the solution? Yes and no, in the sense that yes, to the extent that CBC at least has brought to the forefront the matter of values. And so if it finds a school like Marion, which for the last 43 years has stood on values, then it was very seamless for Marion to adopt the fact that CBC reinforces values. So yes, CBC is a solution. But if a school, for example, has traditionally struggled with having clearly articulated and implemented values, then the fact that CBC puts to the forefront matters values may not make a big difference. Thank you. I should have warned that I'm a man of many words.
Thank you for very much, man of many words, and thank you. We have heard you clearly that the permissive society, lawlessness in some aspects, the absent parents, and the kind of society the children are coming from may be posing some challenges that the school has to address. CBC, you have brought it very, very clearly, has values which can help to go a long way to help the learners learn, or learners understand where they are going to. Now there's a question here that I think I would like us maybe to just, this participant is wondering, I'm just wondering how we can harmonize one school values with close to 500 homes that are very diverse. Please help me understand. And I believe our brother has just tried to help you understand that maybe what is good, both at home and at school. If we are talking of responsibility at home, then responsibility has to be instilled at home and instilled at school. That child should have no problem. If we are talking about respect, it should be instilled at home and in school. But based on what has been said by the previous speakers is, what is respect? That is what might pose us a big, big challenge, because respect in one area, in one home, is not the same. But if we get the definition correct, I think we can go a long way to help the children grow up in a more comfortable environment. Thank you very much, the panelists. I wish to open the floor for any participant to also share their opinion in any of the questions that the panelists have dealt with. Even the panelists, if you think you have an input in any, I'll give us 5 minutes to share. Parents or participants, if you have, or you wish to share something, kindly just unmute and we shall allow you to speak.
Daktari, I just want to add on the question that you have just responded to, that how can 500 homes have the same value as the school system? Our value system as Africans are largely the same. As Africans, when we look at what we valued, matters of respect, that young people should respect older people, it is reflected in the very similar manner, even in the Bible, that children ought to respect older people. In the same way, when we come to the school system teaches what is generally agreeable in the society. And so I just want to remind whoever asked the question that the school system has not come up with values that are detached from the values of the society. If anything, when we teach values, we have actually borrowed those values from the society. The school system only strengthens what is generally agreed upon as values in the larger society. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dorcas. Any other participant, kindly? We want to hear your voices too.
Okay. So I have 2 observations or comments. I don't know how I can put it. 2 things. We talked about intergenerational, whereby, for example, my son is in Form 4, and the principal, okay, Form 4 means he's 17 years, so he's a Gen Z, and the principal is in his probably late 50s, early 60s. So there are 2 generations there in between. So there's a Gen X and the millennials. So here's a question to maybe the principal who I mentioned. Does my son have to put himself in the generation of the principal or the teachers to understand what has been, or is it vis-a-vis? Does the principal or the teachers have to come down to the level of the children to understand one another? That is my first question or query or observation. The second thing I want, my observation is, we have representatives for principals. We have CUPET for teachers. We have NEC. All associations have a representative who will go and speak on behalf of principal, head teachers, who represents the students. Who is there to say, I am a student, my son is a student of a certain school, he's been selected. They have prefects and everything within the school, but who is representing them and say, we'll have, let's say, about 47 student representatives from the 47 counties, where now any issues that they have, they can be able to air them on a platform where there'll be no judge, there'll be no question, a sober platform where they can air their views. Because in my opinion, I am a parent of 4 sons, and 2 of my sons are millennials, other 2 are Gen Zs, okay? So there are times they'll tell me that no one listens to us. No, who is there to listen to us? So me, I'll listen to my son. I'll come down to his level and say, okay, you tell me what is the issue. But now when it comes to the student body, is there a representative of all the students who can come have a platform where they can air their views? Thank you. That is what I can say for now.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I hope that was Joy.
Yes, that is me, Joy, yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Joy. I believe the panelists can address this.
Allow me to go first, Dr. Anthony. I like the question
Thank you.
which the parent has put across, and actually exactly what she has said. Since the year 2015, there is a body for universities and colleges, Students' Peace Association of Kenya. This body is formed by student leaders from all universities and others from colleges. It was formed in response to what happened at Garissa University. During the Garissa incident, university student leaders came together, they mobilized their fellow students, and they gave out enough blood to attend to the victims of the Garissa University incident. Since then, this body has incorporated more students in it, and now they have partnered with the Ministry of Internal Security, Ministry of Education, and the Ministry of Youth Affairs. And what are they rallying across the country? They are rallying for peace, dialogue, and a negotiation between matters of students and administration. This body has since been registered, and they have been able to train all vice chancellors of universities and administrators and all principals of tertiary colleges, plus deputy principals and the guidance and the counseling teachers and the deans of students. What is their main agenda? Their main agenda is to create mediation platforms where students and administration come to mediate. The administration gets to understand the problems of the students, and also the students get to air their problems, seeking for solutions without violence. And they have adopted the method of mediation where everybody comes to the table without power. You are a neutral, all of you, and you seek to understand the other party without judging. And this way, it is believed that all institutions of learning will be a place where students and administrators listen to each other, talk to each other through dialogue, not at each other. And so this is a mechanism. Actually, last year I was in the same training, and in the training that I was, I saw the high school principals. They were brought on board, and as we talk today, they are in Mombasa, and part of the things they are going to agree on is how to get trained together with the teachers of high school. So we are working in an era where both the teachers, administration, and the students are embracing more of open communication, dialogue, and mediation, as opposed to the earlier cases where we had power play, where the administration had it all and they were the people to lead the whole college. Now we are in an era where the voice of the student matters, and we listen to each other as parties of equal power. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Dorcas, Dorcas, just revisit the name of that body. There's a parent who is asking, what is the name of the student body for mediation and dialogue?
It is called the Universities and the Colleges Students' Peace Association of Kenya, USPAC.
Are the high school students represented? Do you have
They are
representatives?
It has been operating in the universities and the colleges, but by the end of last week, the head teachers of secondary schools were brought on board. So the same program is going to roll into our secondary schools and the primary schools.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Dorcas, for that input. I believe that is a real eye-opener. And thank you, Joy, for asking that question. Now, some parents have different opinions on the chat box. One is saying values were lost long time. Today, you can't discipline someone else's child without facing a backlash from the parent. Same to the schools. Caning was abandoned. We are breeding a rotten generation. Really, we are trying to bridge this gap and so that we do not have a rotten generation, because it will not help us in any way. We cannot afford to. David is saying, thank you for the webinar. We need to understand what the role of the home, church, school in education and molding of the upright and critical thinking children. This can't be overemphasized. But unfortunately, today we may not be giving sufficient opportunity to engage in this in academic clinics or PTSs. This could form part of the discussion session. My thoughts. Thank you very much for your view, David. So Joy, thank you very much for the argument. Achebe said that a pot that is not allowed to quench its steam will destroy its tender parts. And what the one responding is good, but must be emphasized in many high schools, because some still insist students are there to be seen, never to be heard. I don't know whether this is the situation anymore, because students themselves will not want just to be there. Thank you very much, dear parents or dear participants and panelists. I would want us now to move to the next round of questions. The next round of questions, the first question will be taken again. Dr. Judy has been quiet again for long, so she will go first. How can schools and parents build stronger partnerships to ensure that values taught in the classroom are supported and practiced at home?
Thank you, Dr. Antonine. I love the discussion because it has opened my mind to so many things that can be done. And I want to encourage us and say that the reason we're here is because, number one, we are Christians. And Christianity is a faith based on hope. Based on hope. Otherwise, Christ would have not come to die for this world. He came to a sinful world. And we know what? When he touches lives, there's always change. So we must maintain that hope for our children. Somebody said, the God of Moses is still the same God today, and he will save our children. But we must maintain hope in the light of all this we are talking about. And so I think that this situation where we are in right now can be a turning point for many, many institutions and many people. Because in discussions, wise people find what to use to move on to the future. Before I answer that question, I just wanted to say that I like that point that Dorcas has brought in, because I was actually thinking it's high time we had those kind of organizations where children can meet and discuss. They used to be there before, but they're not informal. But for them to probably work well so that maybe it doesn't go on the whims of whoever is leading, it probably needs to be edged into the law in one way or another. So the discussions going on, like Dorcas has said, for me are very, very important. And also strengthening the parent associations in schools. That's a very powerful force. But the problem we face today is that we are fighting. We are fighting one another. And you know what? Waswahili walisema fahali wawili wakipigana nyasi huumia. I think it must come to a place where we have to look back and say, as I am fighting a parent, as I'm fighting a teacher, the child is not stopping to grow. And they're catching their own strange values in the midst of that. And remember, monkey see, monkey do. And that's exactly what they will bring onto the table. So I wanted to bring that out. Then the other one on intergenerational. I'd also like to say that for me, my thinking is a bit different from the experience that I've had in my time as a teacher. That as long as life has been, there's always been a little bit of different generational movement. Okay, there's a time when one generation gave up completely, and maybe that's where we parents came up when the other gave up. But with this generation, because no generation holds the answers to everything, we must do more of listening to one another. We must listen to the young people. You know, I realize sometimes a young person can ask a question and I already have an answer. Then they're like, Mom, you're not listening. I realize I was actually not listening because whatever they were asking me is coming to agree with what I wanted to say. But because I have prejudged, I already have my answer. So I'd like to say that the intergenerational gap will probably be more strengthened by more dialogue, because if we are not going to have dialogue, the other media and other people will not keep quiet. So we must be intentional in educating our children. And I've also found one of the best way is let's say we have the Gen Z, let them educate you on who they are. Pick from there. And what are the things we share as generations? One thing that will remain for all generations, if I step on your feet, whether you are a Alpha, Gen Z, Gen X, you will get hurt. So that is one thing that we must discuss, and then leverage on what is common between those generations. What is not common? What is probably more cultural that doesn't affect our relationships much? We can let it hang, but discussion will really help us go a long way. So that also leads to the question I've been asked: how do we build strong partnerships between values taught in classrooms and those practiced at home? One thing that I keep saying, if only the parents and the institutions would work together, if only both sides would reflect and see that we need one another. They talk of the African pot, or is it the African cooker, or that has three sides. That as long as it is one side alone, somebody will suffer. So one thing that I know that we need to engage is parent education and engagement. I've been in some forums where we talked about values. And because one part has not had these forums, they're actually asking, what are you talking about? Even what do you mean by those values? Be clear on what you're saying. So two things I'm saying there: parental engagement and education is very, very important, as well as teacher, or let me call the school engagement. The teachers, the parents, all need to be educated on these things. We don't take it for granted. Just because I live in a certain place, I actually know what that means. Secondly, I'm not sure that is second, but I'm moving on with the question now. Clear communication. Once upon a time, I remember we would have parents' seminars being organized, even before CBE, parent seminars being organized in schools, and it was not academic. At first, it was not easy because academics always blurs people. You know, my child is not performing well, I can't talk about anything else. But for once, people said, let's put aside this so that we find out, why is my child not performing? And when these groups came together, and the school as a unit, the parents, the teachers, and the other teams came together, and there was clear communication displayed in many ways, which probably we'll talk about, in terms of maybe things like the children would put up the drama, they would put poems on what they want at home, would have people coming to speak to their parents. I realized, and I saw it with my own two eyes, let me say like an African, that we soon caught similar values because the walls were broken. And the parents saw that, oh, you love my child even more than, not more, we actually love my child. And the teacher felt, yes, I love your child because I'm also taking care of that child. So clear communication between these two groups, because I'm talking now the school as the adults and then the parents, is very, very important. And the other one is shared language. Shared language. Shared language. You know, if we speak different language, for example, I'm a parent, my child will come and complain about a teacher. There is really nothing wrong about a child complaining or expressing what they feel. But my response as an adult is what will determine how my child will behave when they go with that teacher. I can't say we go back to what our parents used to do. Once a teacher says you are wrong, you are beaten for no reason, that brought anger and bitterness. Maybe that's why many parents relaxed. But there's that place of, my child will tell me this and this is happening. Pick up wisdom and say, okay, this is what's happening between you and that teacher. How can we help you first? How can I help the child adjust fast? Because children are not blank, and these children are very, very wise. So when we come together, we talk the same language. Somebody talked about respect. It may mean different things for different people. I was just meditating and thinking, once upon a time, respect was when you greeted an adult, you touched your part of your arm as you stretched. But that's not happening. Even with Corona and all that stopped us from probably touching each other's hands. And now a culture has come where we don't really shake hands. But there's a posture, there is an attitude that still shows respect. So these universal values really never change. And the other thing, as I add on that, I know my time is up, is celebrating positive behavior, both at home and both in school. We are living in a negative society. In fact, I think Kenya is ranked as one of the most negative countries. And that is both killing us physically and killing us even psychologically in many ways. But if you would celebrate the little positive behavior, both at home and both in school, I tell you, will go a long way in uniting these two groups. A parent telling a child, you've improved by that grade, I celebrate you. A teacher doing the same on the other end, in spite of the many challenges we are going through. It will make our lives much better. And finally, collaborative problem solving. When I find a child as a teacher who is not doing well, and I bring in the parent, but then sometimes it is not easy. I am also a parent. It is not easy sometimes when you're called or something happens, or you hear a child has been called. The first reaction normally is shock, which is a normal reaction. And I think educating ourselves on these things may help. When assuming you're called that your child has burned the school, the first thing when you know your child, you'll say, never ever, not my child. That is actually a normal reaction, because shock and denial are the first part of any stress that comes in. But after walking that journey slowly, we must come together and say, hey, what is really going on here? Because the solution is not with the parent, the solution is not with the teacher, the solution is with the two parties, and then working slowly together with the children. It may not be the instant coffee, instant tea that the society is pushing us towards, because children don't develop as instant as we want, but it's about going back to reflect and asking hard questions. And I finish by saying this: God, who is the person who is a judge and also the one who loves, uses the rod and the staff, but is the same person. Is it possible as a parent, as a teacher, I can use the rod on one side to correct and the staff on one side to guide, so that we don't differentiate and then feel like I must be gentle, maybe as a teacher or as a parent, for a child to do well? I think we must just balance and ask those questions. And eventually that will lead to better partnerships and better outcomes. And I will say that parents and schools are not enemies. And if there's something the devil would want, is for us to be enemies so that we destroy a generation. But if we could come together, we will bring in a mighty, mighty group of children and generations to come, because they are learning to parent from us. Thank you for allowing me to speak for long.
Thank you very much, Dr. Judy. We must bring a mighty, mighty generation, because parents and schools have no choice but to work together. But the bone of contention here is we celebrate positive behavior. So what is positive behavior? What is positive in one's eye may not be positive in another person's eye. So we must agree, what is it that we want for our children, in our children as a school? I think the schools must agree. Parents in that school must agree. If all the parents come together with the guidance of school administration, with the PTAs and BOMs and the rest, and they say, this is what we want for our children. This is where we want our children to go. And we are saying universal values will never age. Values will never age. Responsibility will always be responsibility. Respect will always be one. Honesty will always, though we try to weaken it as much as we want, but if we come together as a community and we say, this is what we want from our children, then I think the children will obey. They will listen to the parents because we embrace them, we handle them with care, we give them a lot of warmth, we communicate clearly to them, we don't shout at each other as they are listening. So the ball is on our court, the adults, so that the children are cared for and they are protected as the Bible tells us. As we are told, John Locke tells us very, very clearly that a child is born as a blank slate. So what is it that we write in their minds? The home and the school and the society, let's write what is good. Dorcas, I think let's go to, yes, Dorcas, maybe possibly add a voice to that question too before we move on to Mr. Maganga.
Thank you, Daktari. I cannot overemphasize what Dr. Bueno has said, that for us to have a practice of values in the homes and in the schools, then we should learn to talk to each other, that is the parent, the student, and the school. It is very, very important. And we should always talk the same language, such that when the teacher says that your child lacks this, let the parent be honest. We have seen incidences where children are caught red-handed practicing homosexuality. And when the parents are called, they tend to deny that in protection of their children. But it doesn't go far before it catches up. The incident becomes now a problem or a source of conflict between the parent and the child. So if we could have learned to have a sincere conversation between the three parties, that is the child, the teacher, and the parent, I think Kenya will be a good country, because it means that the child's definition of a value will be seamless, as you said. That is what the parent supports will be exactly what the teacher nurtures. Number two, it is not only the home and the school. We also have the wider society. For example, today, who is the hero? Who is the hero? Number two, why do we present negative role models to our young people? Who do we celebrate? When we celebrate people who have no education, people who have no morals, what exactly are we teaching our young people? When we promote violent content online, exactly what will our young people learn out of it? Why are we normalizing violence and conflict in our society? Now, at times it is very true that we have reduced respect for our authority. Today we are discussing matters of values, but all of us know that the day tomorrow, we don't know what will happen, because it is the day for the Gen Zs. And you know very well that the larger population of this country is actually Gen Zs. Do you know that more power is now in the hands of Gen Zs? But how many of us are taking a step to neutralize between their power and holding onto values? All of us are like, if it is burning, let the country burn. So there are things that we are promoting at the national level that are not building our young children. Because surely, even at national level, there are things we are not doing correct. Yes, there is no dialogue between even the larger public and the young people. But what should be the approach? So as much as our young people are learning from the home and from the school, they are also watching and learning from the bigger, larger society. Who do we call a successful person? Who is that person that we are supposed to emulate? Who is our hero in the society in the Kenyan context. Children learn more by what they see than what they are taught. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dorcas. Now there are observations here from the chat box. Reverend Peter Okoth is saying his observations are the following. Absentee parents are busy making money, expanding their careers at the expense of parenting their children. Teachers have no control over the students because they have been overprotected by the government and the same parents. In many schools, academic work has overshadowed pastoral counseling. The word of God is seen as a waste of time. Quality grades have replaced Jesus Christ, hope of righteousness. The entire moral fabric of the society is torn. Only Jesus can save this generation that does not know the Lord. I think we can do something. Jesus will use us, all of us. Each one in this society, if we reason together, the way we are reasoning together, we identify the solutions. And in every society where children are, there are also adults. Those adults must be sober and embrace those children, talk together, reason, and let us see way forward, guided by the values. Still, he's saying, identity crisis, copycat behaviors learned from the social media, TikTok, Netflix, movies are spoiling this generation. These ones are there to stay. They will stay definitely. But if somebody who is looking at the TikTok with a different moral fabric, with responsibility, with some values instilled on them, then they will look at them differently. And this is what we are targeting. We can't stop TikTok. We can't stop those movies, but we want to look at them using a different angle so that no matter how bad it is, no matter how violent it is, I'm going to learn not to be violent from what I'm seeing based on my values. Now thank you for this webinar, very informative, child plus teacher plus parent cohesion. Thank you very much, participant. And then Musimbi is saying road and staff balance, important. We lost the road. Okay, we lost the road, but we have something that we can do. I want to move us to the next question to allow us participants also to come in. And this is now to our Mr. Maganga. Can you share examples of successful initiatives or practices that have helped bridge the gap between school values and the home environment? Share some of these initiatives from your school.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much for very vibrant discussion and very rich sharing from our panelists and also from the audience. I must admit, I'm also learning and growing from that. Sincerely appreciate. Allow me to also appreciate my wife who's on the call. Thank you for your support, Elos, and also my colleagues who are on the call, Collins and Mike and Esther. But yes, it is indeed very possible for a school to run initiatives that ensure that home and school are running on the same values. And Marian Schools has been on the forefront of this. Our logo is 4 Bs. And those 4 Bs stand for what we really value. And the very first B is that we recognize that God gives us blessed parents. for us, and then we implement a balanced curriculum, and we have bold staff who do this. And indeed, God gives us beautiful learners who are able to just run with these values. And so we are very committed to this, to do this biblically, and to ensure that these beautiful learners that the blessed parents have given us, to just give them a balanced curriculum. And this balanced curriculum, we ensure that we follow, we look at 4 domains: the physical domain, the intellectual domain, the spiritual domain, and also the intellectual domain. We don't just, we're very deliberate about it. And every aspect of our programs, we always inspect that which we expect. So we really report on these areas. I'm not just sharing, saying that this is what we do. We inspect them, and indeed it works. We have very strong parent engagement, a very strong parent engagement program. Every term, parents come in, and we have a program we call Blessing My Child. They come in and engage to just pray for their children and declare blessing over them. And after this is done, we have a fellowship together to just reinforce that these are the things we believe. We have parent seminars on a continuous rolling basis. We have a parent empowerment. In actual fact, the last weekend was a parent empowerment weekend. We have a first session in the morning where fathers talk to one another. We have another session also running concurrently called Mother's Thoughts, so that, you know, the thinking being mothers talk quite a lot one with another. So we have a time of them reflecting, and then we do a joint session together, again to reinforce these are the things we believe in. These are the things that are very important to us. And at least once a term, we have a Sunday where we all fellowship together to just go back to a very core value that we depend on God. I know I'm rattling off programs that happen, but these programs, you know, reinforce the fact that these are not just things we talk about. We believe them, and we've created time in our program for them. We have what we call our themes of the year that, you know, guide the dialogue and engagement, staff to the children, children to one another, home and school. The parents also run along. We have a Bible character of the year, a Bible chapter of the year, the spiritual discipline of the year, the virtue of the year, the symbol of the year, a life skill of the year, the study skill of the year, a housekeeping skill of the year, like the one for this year is tidying up. And we keep talking home and school. Is the child being tidy? Is the child cleaning up after themselves? Is the child making sure? We hold each other accountable on that. We have a hymn of the year, and we have a song of the year. So that those are, you know, we use them as tools to help us engage with one another, just to ensure that home and school is talking same language. As I've said, our corporate spirit is our primary core value is dependence on God. We depend on God, and we make sure that we help both the parents and the children to know it. We also run very, very clear mentorship programs. And this mentorship, like every class, we have spared time. However much a school gets busy, the school schedule has to provide for an opportunity to specifically speak into the lives of the children. Although, of course, we are also going the journey of being an authentic school for real. And we have, for the last 6 years, we've really been working to do biblical worldview integration, and we bring the parents on board as well. So we have a resident counselor. We also have guidance and counseling that we do. And when we notice something, we bring in the parent as well, so that the whole family is counseled. We run Mizizi for the children.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I think that is something. I think you're very, very intentional. I will allow you time at some point to continue. But
Okay.
for now, I just want to briefly open the floor for parents or participants who are also on the floor. Just hold there. Don't forget them. I'll give you an opportunity at one point. Parents who are also on board to also add something. Just add a voice, say something.
Madam Facilitator, I've been raising my hand. I was waiting for you to select me since the start. I don't know whether I can have a chance to say something.
I've selected you, Timothy.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, I've kept on raising my hand, and I thought from the start, and I thought I could have a chance to say something. But first of all, I want to thank you very much. Thank you very much for this session. I'm glad I have joined this session. I'm a parent, I'm a Christian, I'm a DESTA alumni. I work for children all my life since 1994, and this session is really, really enriching. I'm learning a lot from all of you. I serve on the Committee on the Rights of the Child as one of the 18 experts in the world, but I'm learning a lot. I realize I don't know much. But one thing I just want to underscore, it's a comment and a question. Sorry, I'm on the road, but I've stopped just to speak on this. One, I have liked the idea of the universal values. Values are universal. Values guided by the Bible, they are all universal. But one thing I want to say, when you're talking about home and school, as an organization, I work for a children's organization, we come across very interesting situations, which I want just to share, so that maybe the facilitators can also be able to weigh in. One, we are talking about home. We had a situation where one parent brought his son to school. And let me give you the background. The children had rummaged in the school and had broken things worth 7 million. They were at home for 19 days. And when they came back with one of the parents, this was a single parent. When the parent brought the child, his son, a Form 3 son, he actually started crying. And the son was also crying. And when they asked, why are you crying? The mother said that, sorry, I've said our mother should not have said, that he's going to miss the son when he's in school. So he really wanted the son to be at home. So I kept on asking myself, sincerely, does this parent really want the child to be? And he's saying, I'm lonely, I'm going to be alone at home. I've named him my father, he's my father. I wish I could stay with him. And when you're talking about, the home environment and the school environment, I ask myself, this kind of parent, how can such a parent be helped? He's actually feeling bad that the child is in school. Second scenario is a situation where the children were in a school, again, a national school. And this parent really cares for their child that they give the child 2 suitcases, one for clothes and one for food stuff, just to eat for the whole term. And yet there are other children who actually don't have food, or they have just carried only food. So what I'm trying to bring about is that maybe in this country, we need a minimum of what is expected in a school, and we need a maximum. Maybe we've not set a minimum and a maximum. There are some parents overdo things. And there are situations where some schools really, things are below sea level, below reprieve. So I really don't know how we can have a balanced education. And somebody was talking about a balanced home and balanced school. I like the 4 Bs that Mwalimu has talked about. How do we ensure there is balance in education? How does our education system cater for all the children? Children with special needs, exceptional children, the system, they fall through the cracks. So it's actually a situation that we need to see how we can address in this country. Then finally, I just want to say, for the strikes that have happened, some of them have happened out of influence. Some schools just went on strike because similar schools were on strike. And these children, when they come home, they talk to each other. I know of a school that was closed before they went on strike, but the children went on they were taken home for this pressure break. When they came back, they actually banned the school. The reason, when we asked them, they said, our friends told us, we banned our school. You are boys, you also need to go and ban your school. That kind of pressure. So I'm just asking myself, how much as parents are we doing to actually allow children to be children? I agree that we need to have discussions with them. We need to have conversation with them, negotiation with them. But can we allow children to be children? I think some of us are letting our children be adults in their childhood. The role of church. I agree that all the schools in Kenya used to belong under a religion. They were either Anglican Church, Roman Catholic, Friends. That they all belong to religious institutions. Muslims for Muslim schools. But how much is the church in those schools? What role are the religious people playing in that school? I belong to St. Mark's Church, and the pastor on Sunday was asking, do we have some people who can go and help with the primary school next to us? There were no volunteers. So I'm just asking myself, can we allow children to be children so that instead of making them to be adults when they are children, miniature adults? So that's where, but what I've learned from this session, there's a lot that we can be able to share. And I'm learning a lot. I'm really hoping that I can be able to use this to influence other people and also to be able to continue exchanging the good ideas and experiences you've had, not just in Kenya, but globally, so that we can benefit all of us. God bless you.
God bless you too, Timothy. Thank you. You persisted in raising your hand. And thank us also, at least we saw it. Any other participant? Any other?
There's only the chats.
Maybe if there's no participant, I just want to add a small addition, or an answer to a question that one of the participants asked, whether we have any law for children to participate in processes. I'm a champion in child participation, and I know that the Education Act of 2013, it provides for a child representative on the school management committees, on the BOMs. But I know, I heard one of the schools that involving children in that committee has been a problem. But I think in law, it provides for children or child representatives or leaders to actually be part of the management and also represent children issues. But I know in reality that that's not happening. So the law is there. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. The question is this, Timothy. We are talking about the children being put in the committee and the rest. Now, what is the quality that is being taken there? How have you prepared these children to be able to champion what is right for the others? Talk of this one that is carrying a whole suitcase of food. Don't you think they're also going to say that all the others must also carry food? And this is going to affect the entire population. The parents are going to struggle in everything. So what is the quality of the child and the ideas that they are going to share? This is where our values come in. This is where we are insisting the values first. We do some value check, and then now we can have you there. Please respond.
Okay, thank you. Let me respond to that. And I want to respond to that by referring us to the Constitution of Kenya, Section 53 of the Constitution. There is an aspect there that is indicated that everything should be done in the best interest of the child. That is one principle of human rights or child rights that most of us don't understand as parents. I train on the Convention on the Rights of the Child, which I'm a member. And I can tell you what happens is the process of getting that child is as important as the child himself or herself. if at all the children themselves are given an opportunity where they can select their representative democratically, then this young person who has been selected before any board meeting, he's supposed actually to collect views from the other children, so that whatever he or she is speaking, they are not his or her issues, but the issues from the children. But I know the trend, the teachers who are here, you know, that when it comes to prefects, what used to happen in the past and is still happening in some schools, teachers select the prefects they want. But if we let the children select their own, have a process, the process of selection is very important. One thing I'll just ask, I liked what the teacher said, that we interview the parent when they are coming in with the child. Do we interview the child? We talked about tabula rasa. Even from primary school, from nursery, when the children are joining school, do we take time to understand which child we are getting? So we might interview the parent and ask the parent to sign everything. The child has not signed anything. Yeah. So for me, if you made children to be able democratically to select or elect their representative, then they'll feel so happy talking to that representative. I'm talking that with experience because I have started charity clubs in schools which are run by children. And in most cases, when you train teachers in those skills, most of them end up being the counseling masters. So I want to say the process of selecting that child is what matters, not even the child who is being selected. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think I want to give just 1 minute each to the panelists, just to give us their final remarks before we return the meeting to the Secretariat. 1 minute. Let's begin with Dorcas.
Thank you very much, Antonin. Maybe my 1 minute, I'll say that children have a lot of information. Sometimes they have a lot that they want to air out. It's important that they be listened to. Number 2, it's also important that you deliberately involve them in school decision making. And number 3, it's really key that a home teaches values to children when they are young. Values are universal. If children grow up with values in a home setting, it's very important. It's very easy for them to fit into a school system, because schools also teach these universal values. In this way, we shall raise up citizens who are responsible and who are leaders guided by values. Value-based leadership is what we want today and tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dorcas. Mr. Maganga, kindly.
Wow, I know, Dr. you stopped me before I could finish what I was sharing about what works, and something that we've tried. I was going to share about the life skill camps that we do in conjunction with our parents, all the way for children right from grade 1 all the way to grade 9. And we also have a rites of passage program, program that we run, which we call Tender Warriors and Pure Girls, and that partnership. And at the core, I just wanted to say it works. It works. It costs to create time in your program for these programs. It calls for deliberateness. If you are not deliberate about it, because there are always all these competing demands, but it really works. But to go on to my concluding remarks, Romans chapter 12 says very clearly, as far as is possible, be at peace with one another, as far as is up to one. And I believe that responsibility cuts both ways. Parents have their responsibility towards ensuring peace. Teachers have the responsibility towards ensuring living peaceably with one another. Students have the responsibility towards ensuring the same, and we must. Of course, Amos chapter 3, verse 3 is very clear about agreement, and that's why it's key that there be agreement in the school. And Proverbs 22:6 is that famous, it sounds trite and common, but it's very clear. Train up a child. Everything about school, everything that we do as parents, we should remember we are training up the child. And that should be our focus. It helps to be biblical. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. There is a participant that is saying they have raised their hands, and I don't seem to see their hands. It is not really intentional that we should leave you out. We just want to hear your view because we believe it matters so much. This is Sarah. Sarah, can I give you maybe 30 seconds to share that view before we come to Dr. Judy and then to the Secretariat? Our time is, we are just left with 5 minutes. Sarah? Sarah has left. Okay, Judy,
No,
please.
she-
Judy?
Kindly
Thank you.
let's just, because we are now at the level of talking to the panelists, it's not good to come in between. We will engage next time. God bless you.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you very much. Thank you for understanding. Judy?
Thank you so much. Just a few things. One, somebody asked, are boarding schools necessary? The question is, why do they exist in the first place? Equity. Where do we find good education? What makes a parent take that child to that school and leave the other? As long as we are not developing our schools equally wherever each school is, people will look for what they think is good education. Number two, somebody said at the beginning that many parents are too busy. The boarding school is where we take our children and we feel they are safe as we continue pursuing other things, which may or may not be necessary. So that is a question for a different day. But I wanted to say that one of the things that is happening currently is that most parents are doing what is called reverse parenting. Children are running homes. So this child whom the mother is telling, I'm missing you, is because the mother probably has not reached out to other adults. We are sharing everything with our children and we are making them parents. And sometimes when they come to school, we have to handle them as you, as a parent, as me. So really parents, we also need to be educated that children are children. And I want to finish by saying it takes courage to partner. Lots of courage to partner today. And I'm thankful for Marion School that you've talked and you're here. And my heart's desire, especially in what has happened in our society today, if the research arm of the government of Kenya would take time and carry out a research, not necessarily a task force put in place to find out why there's unrest, but a research that will consider schools that did not even attempt, schools that were held, schools that went. And then from that data, now come up with the documents that will help us make decisions that are based on data. Because what we do is once these things go down and there are no fires, we go quiet. But if somebody went to Marion School and did research, why were you in school? And came to another school and asked, why weren't you? And whatever was happening, they have all the schools in Kenya, get data of 20,000 children, boards of governors, all that. And then we make a decision that it might sound maybe high up there, but I think that that would really help our nation. So I finish by saying that children are still ours. They are not going anywhere. We are not going anywhere. If you want a society that stays, God must be at the center and we must be intentional about bringing up these children, and all the institutions must come in together. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Judy. And thank you all the participants for your sharing and the ideas. Now, Lizanne, we only leave you 2 minutes to finish. Please take
Okay.
it
Yeah.
from here.
Yes. Thank you so much, Antonin. You've done a good job to moderate this. And also the panelists that have been here tonight. That was such a wonderful session. I think we've learned a lot what to do with our children, that is at home and also at school as teachers and as parents, but also even as children when we are communicating to our parents, because some of us identify as children still. But thank you for the wonderful conversation. At the beginning of the webinar, Dr. Judy said that KCPF is an organization that is denominational, where we support the church. But also, if you'd like to join KCPF and be part of this conversation, you're most welcome. So I'll be sharing the link to join KCPF. It's quite I'll be sharing it on the chat. So KCPF is a member organization. And really, if you're a Christian professional, or if you're a professional and you're a Christian, then you belong with us. So I've shared that on the chat. So if you'd love to join KCPF, that is the link. Sorry, there's something wrong with that. Let me just reshare it again. Yes. So that is the link that you can just click on it, and then you will be able to see your response, and then we'll get back to you. Just to be clear is that our membership payment is 1,500 to register to be a member of KCPF, but then to subscribe annually, you're required to pay 2,500. And then for you to know more about KCPF, the advocacy work that we do, and if you'd like to join the committees and be able to serve with us, then you'll be able to attend the induction session as a new member. And then also finally connect with committees or county chapters. And by county chapters is if you're in Meru, in Embu, in Mombasa, we have different county chapters where you can connect with them and network. But also I'd like to say that this is not the end of this conversation. We hope to continue this conversation maybe in the coming month. So this will be often, not only today. But I'd also like to share that for KCPF to be able to do this advocacy work in schools, that is in promotion and protection of life, promotion of the family, and then championing for good governance and leadership. We are asking for support to be able to support these programs, and that's why we have something called Angaza Fundraiser that is coming up on the 3rd of July, which will be at the Heron Hotel. Let me share that flyer. So this is it. And the support that you are able to give us will be able to strengthen what we do, that is protection of life, promotion of family values, values-based education, religious freedom, and good governance. And we are requesting you, if you are able to support us, then these are the payment details and how you can support us. But if you're not even able to attend the dinner, you can send something small to be able to support us. At this juncture, I'd like to thank everyone who attended this webinar, and I'll call one of my colleagues, Mr. Steve Aomo, if he's available, to close for us with a word of prayer. Steve? Okay. Then maybe I'll ask Mr. Gerald Olewolsafang, because I can see he's here, he's a member of the governance committee. He can pray for us. Gerald? Are you able to speak?
I listen.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I'm bearing a bad cold. I would beg somebody to go ahead.
That's okay. That's okay. Then maybe I'll just pick randomly. I'll pick Jennifer. Sorry, I've seen Pastor Judy here. Judy Carey, maybe she can pray for us as we leave. Okay, maybe then I will pray. Let's all believe and pray. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for this evening that you've been able to give to us. Thank you for the wonderful speakers. Thank you for all that we've learned today about the students and the culture that we need to model to our children, whether it's at home or at school, that Lord, you may lead us, that Lord, you may enable us to be able to be good examples of our children, even at home and at school, Lord, that they may be able to emulate good behavior so that it can cut across in everything that they do, Lord. We are praying for the children of this country, for the students of this country, even as things continue being that they have unrest in school, that Lord, you may go ahead of them, that Lord, may you speak to these children, Lord, that Lord, we desire a country where the children are an example, Lord, that Lord, even for the parents that are are missing the gap of just being there for their children, we ask that Lord, you may go and just touch their lives. We are praying for the teachers that take time to be in school, to be able to teach our children and educate them on the matters of values, that Lord, you may bless them, that you may meet them at the point of their need, that Lord, in whatever that they do, that you may go ahead of them, even as we leave this meeting, that Lord, you may protect us, and Lord, that we may be examples in our society, to our children and to the community at large. And Lord, we dedicate KCPF unto your able hands, even at this moment, that Lord, we may continue to be a voice in the community in such impactful work. And we pray this believing in Jesus Christ. Amen.
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 Thank you so much.
Amen.
This session will be on YouTube, so we'll share the link with you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, amen.
Thank you.
Asanteni.